Welcome to this video. In this video, we'll be developing this scientific calculator. In this calculator, you can perform your basic mathematical operations and you can also perform some scientific operations. Just for example, you can multiply your 2 by 3 and that is going to give you 6. You can divide 40 by 8 and that is going to give you 5. You can also find the sine of the angle of 30 degrees. You can find the cosine of angle 45 degree. You can find the tangent of any number you like in degrees. Alright, you can find the logarithm of any number, also natural logarithm. You can find the square root of any number. You can find the square of any number. Also, pi, you have that. We also have this constant. Then you can raise any number to the power of any number. Alright, so this is backspace. Okay, so this is 1 divided by a particular number. Let's say 1 over 2 is going to give you 0.5. Okay, 1 over 4 is going to give you 0.25. This one is to find the modulus of any number. Let's say we have -8. So this is going to give you the absolute value. Right? I mean absolute value, not modulus. Okay, so this is exponential. Alright, now we can get to our development. Alright, so first things first, we're going to create our index.html file. New file index.html. Alright, so we have our HTML layout. We call the title, we call it scientific calculator, scientific. Alright, we save that. We can start that with live server. Okay, so we have our work file. We can as well close the sidebar. So we'll be using Tailwind CSS. Use the Tailwind script tag. So we have the source to be https cdn.tailwindcss.com. Alright. So we give the body font of mono, mean height of screen. We make it flex container. Then we align the items to center, items center, justify center. Give it background of gradient to right, gradient to right from purple 500 to indigo 500. Then we give it text white. Inside of the body, we are going to have the calculator container. We give it background of grade 800. Padding of 1.5 rem, that is P6 in Tailwind utility class. So we give it 100 to XL, that is border radius, shadow XL. Then we give it width of 96. You can save that. That's going to be our calculator container. Inside of the container, we have the input of type text. And give it width of full, BG grade 900, MB4 is margin bottom, P4 that is padding of 1 rem, and that large text 3XL, text right, we align the text to right, outline on, pointer events none. Alright, so I'm going to give the input a value of 0. And we're also going to disable the input so that the user cannot interact with the input. That is going to be our display for the calculator. After the inputs, we have the buttons container, and it's going to be a grid container. Give it column of 5, that is grid cost 5. Right, I'll give it gap of 1 rem, that's gap 4. So the first row is going to be our scientific, is going to be for scientific functions. So we have scientific function row 1. The first one is going to be a button. Give it background of gray 600. PY4 rounded of large, that is border radius of 8 pixels. Then on hover, we change the background to indigo 700. Indigo 700. And on active, that is when the button is clicked, we change the background to indigo 800. Okay, the first one is going to be sign. That's what you used to find the sign of. Okay, it's going to be, it's supposed to be indigo 600, not gray 600. Okay, so we have our sign button. Okay, and we have this in 5 places for the first row, so we're going to duplicate this in 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so this is going to be cos, that is cosine. It's going to be tangent, tan, and the next one is going to be log, that is logarithm with base 10. Then we have the natural logarithm, which is ln. Okay, let me zoom this in so you can see what we are doing very well. Now we are done with the first row. You can go to the second row now. Just copy this up to the last button. It's going to be our shift alt down. So this is going to be row 2. The first button on the second row is going to be square root, which has the HTML code of radic. Right. The next one is going to be s squared. That is s with superscript of 2, ampersand superscript 2. The next one is going to be pi. That is our pi constant, pi. Okay. The next one is going to be the e constant. And then the next one is going to be raised to power. Okay. So we have the second line, the second row. Now after the scientific buttons, we have the standard calculator button. So we can say standard calculator row. Alright, we have button. Give it background of gray 600. PY4 rounded large. On hover, give it background of gray PG gray 700. And on active, I'm going to give it BG gray 800. This is supposed to be 700, not 8. So, and that is going to be C. That is for clear. Save that. We have C. Then we have this in 3 places. This is going to be plus and minus with the HTML code of plus and minus. Plus and minus. The next one is going to be percent. Okay. Whereas the next one is going to be divide. So we have divide. This one is going to have a separate background color of blue. We have blue. Then we have blue. That's for operators. The next one is going to be for backspace. It has the same styles as this. So we have backspace. And the HTML code is 9003. Alright, we are going to give this font of sans. Font sans. It's going to be different from others. Others are font mono. It's going to be font sans, so that it's going to be bigger. And then we're also going to give percent the same font sans. All right, so we have that. Now that one has taken the background. Percent, okay, font sans. So the next one we are going to have are numbers. You can as well copy this. It's going to have different color. So we can call this row 2 standard calculator. Alright, we paste this. The background is going to be 700, 800, and 900. So this is going to be 7, number 7. So we copy this in 3 places. It's going to be 8, and it's going to be 9. If we save that, next one is going to be multiplication. It's going to have the same style as this. We have, it's going to be multiplication, and then the next one, the next button is going to be for inverse of any number, 1 over x. We use that to find the inverse of any number. It's going to have the same font family as others. Alright, so we have this line. You can as well duplicate this line. Okay, so we duplicate it twice. Alright, so this is going to be row 4, and then this is going to be row 3. Okay, so this is going to be 4, 5, and 6. 5, 6. Okay, the next one is going to be minus. And then this is going to be absolute value. So we have absolute value. We can save that. So this is going to be 1, 2, 3. Okay, it's going to be plus. All right, then this is going to be exponential. We are left with the last row. Can copy this. Okay, it's going to be, can call this row 5. It's going to be 0. It's going to be dot, and this is going to be equal to. Okay, so the last one will not be using this. I'm going to give this button separate styles. So 0 is going to have 2 column span. Can as well come there, say call span 2. It's going to span across 2 rows, 2 columns. Then dot is going to have the same style as this one, so that is going to be BG 600, 7, and 8. Okay, and then equal to is also going to span across 2 columns. And we have call span 2. We save that. Okay, and then this is going to be green, not gray. It's going to have a separate color from others. Green 600. Okay, it's going to be green 700. Then the next one is going to be green 800. All right, so we are done with the user interface now. Now we are left with the functionality. We are going to achieve that using JavaScript. As you can see, if you click on any of the buttons now, they will not respond to you. This one, the active state of this equal sign is not working. What could be the error? Okay, we have green 800. Okay, now it should be working. All right, the over state is also not working. All right, okay, so we have our buttons functioning properly with respect to the UI. Now we are left with the functionality. Okay, so the first thing we do is we are going to create our JavaScript file. So we can call that app.js. You can call it any name you like, right? And we are going to link it inside this place. Come to the instrument script, all right? So the source is going to be app.js. Okay, now we can go to app.js and then we perform our functionality there. The first thing we do is we are going to select our buttons. So we have const display is going to be our display. We select that using query selector documents dot query selector, and then we select it with the inputs of type attributes. Input type should be text. Right, so we select the display with the type attributes. And then the next is we are going to select all the buttons. So we use query selector all for that. Our documents query selector all. We are going to select all the buttons. We select them using the tag name button. Alright. So to know that maybe we are correct or not, we can log that to the console. We have display and we also have buttons. Alright, we can come to our console, inspect, to console, we have input and then we have our buttons. Alright, so that means we are correct to that point. Okay, we can get rid of this line. So the next thing we do is we're going to create our variables. Okay, so we say let's current input. So we give the current input a default value of 0. We also have a previous input. That variable is the one that is going to hold our previous input. Okay, we give it nothing. We also have operator, give it empty string, and then we can also say result displayed. We are going to use this boolean to monitor if we have a result displayed. By default it is false, no result for now. Displayed, my spelling is wrong. If you like, you might not repeat all this let. You can as well use just a single let for them, then you use comma here, so you achieve the same result with that. So the next thing is we're going to define our function, the function that is going to be updating our display. Update display function, or you can say function to update the display. So we have the function statement. Alright, we call it update display. It's going to accept the value argument. So we say display dot value is going to be the value that is passed as the argument. Alright, so we have the function to update our display. The next function is going to be the function that will be calculating our standard operations, maybe plus, minus, multiplication, division, raised to power. So we have the function here. So we say function to perform calculations. Okay, so we have the function. Got this calculate. It doesn't accept any arguments. Alright, so we say const previous. It's going to be pass float. We're going to pass provided inputs. So the next one is going to be const current. That is current value. We pass it to change the string to number. Then we have current input. So we are going to perform a check here. Use the if statement. So we use, it's not a number function to check if the previous and the current values, if they are not number, we check. Alright, is none. Current. So we check for both the previous and current values. If they are not a number, then we are going to return 0 here, because the provided inputs are not numbers. Okay, So the next thing here is we are going to use the switch statement to perform our operations. So here we have operator. Okay, the first one we are going to perform is plus. We have plus here. All right. If it is a plus operation, we are going to return previous, then plus current. Don't need to use the break keyword I've returned. Then the next case is going to be for subtraction. I'm going to return previous minus current. The next is going to be for multiplication. I'm going to return previous multiplied by current. The next one is going to be for divide. So I'm going to return previous divided by current, right? And the next one is going to be for raised to power. For raised to power, we are going to use the math function, right? Math.power. Okay, so we are going to say previous and then current. That's going to raise previous to the power of current. So if none of these conditions are satisfied, then we are going to return the current value. All right. So after the calculate function, we are going to have another function that will be performing our scientific functions. So we can say function to function func to perform scientific operations. So we call that function statement. Say scientific operations. Now we can say operation. Only one operation is going to be performed per time. So the parameter is going to be value. So we say const the current value is going to be pass float. So we're going to use that to convert the string to number of value. Right. In the next one, we are going to check the value provided is a number. Current. Alright. So if it is not a number, we are going to return 0. I believe you know the function of this function. It returns a boolean, either true or false. If the provided input is not a number, it returns true. If it is a number, it returns false. So now we are going to use switch statement also. Okay, it's going to be value. So the first one is going to be sign. We're going to be calculating the sign. So we say return use math.sign. Okay, that's going to find the sign of the angle. But you should take note that a sign in JavaScript, it accepts angles in radians. So what we are going to do is we are going to convert whatever value that the user provided to radians. The user is going to provide degrees, so we are going to convert it to radian, as you can see here. A numeric expression that contains an angle measured in radians. And to convert that, we are going to multiply the number, which is current. We multiply it, so current multiplied by pi, that's math.pi over 180. If you are wondering how we come about this, normally in your mathematics, 2 pi is the same as 360 degrees. So that means a pi, that's 1 pi is 180 degree. So to convert degree to radians, you are going to multiply the value in degree by pi over 180. Let me add it as comments here. You can say 2 pi equals 360 degrees. That makes 1 pi to be 180. Alright. So that's how we come about this. So the next case is going to be for cos. Now this is cos. The next condition is going to be for tan as tangent. We have math.tan. All right. The next one is going to be for logarithm in base 10. Okay. This one has different operation. So if it is log, so this is going to be math.log, log to base 10. All right. Then we pass current. The next is natural logarithm. We have ln. This is going to be math.log. All right. The next is going to be square root. To get this symbol, it might be somewhat tricky. So what we are going to do is we are going to log this value into the console, and then we'll copy it from the console. Okay, so let's just prepare all other values we need. We need this, and then this. So we need 5 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4. The next one is going to be square. Okay, can clear that. The next one is going to be pi. I can clear that. Okay. S squared pi is going to be the constant e, and then this is going to be raised to power. I think these ones are easy to get. So we are going to have, no, this is going to be exponential. This raised to power, we've handled it in this function. We have raised to power here. This is going to be exponential. And then we calculate that using the math.exponential function. Exponential, yeah. So we can see the definition here. It returns e raised to the power of a number, right? This is the constant as math.e, the constant e. That is Euler's number, the base of natural logarithm. So we are left with these two symbols that we are going to log into the console, and then we copy it from there. We also have to copy this also, and then this series of them. We'll copy this, we'll copy this. We can type this on our keyboard. Come back to this. Let me comment it. Come back. We copy them from the console. We copy this and paste there. We don't need this break keyword. And then if any of the conditions are not satisfied, we are going to return our current value. Right. So don't forget, we are going to come back to this. We add event listener to the buttons, and then we copy the inner text. All right. So we have our functions, function for scientific operation, function for calculating, function to update display. All right. So after this, we can say add event listener to all buttons. All right. Now we can say buttons dot for each. We can use for each since query selector all is going to return a node list. So for each button, we're going to add a click event listener. We have click. We have the callback function. So we have const value is going to be button as the current button that is being clicked dot inner text. All right. Now we can log this value so that we can copy this raised to power 2 on pi. We can say console.log, and we can say value. Okay. So open our DevTools console. So if you click on, okay, we have square roots, we copy that. This we copy it, and then this we also copy that. Those are the three we can. Okay, and this also. And this, we have many of them. Let me put this to the base. I think it should be here. Yes. All right. So we are going to copy it from here. Let's go to scientific operations. So this is going to be, we have learned this. Okay. So the next one is going to be square root. Copy this. copy, so paste it there. The next one is going to be a squared. Use that to find the square of any number, so I'm going to paste that here. Alright, the next one is pi, select, then you first highlight and then you copy. And the next one is pi. I think we are good to go. And so we can get rid of this comment and then this comment. Okay, so now we are going to get square root. Let me close this. We are left with plus or minus and the backspace we get there. So square root is going to be math dot square root. Square root, right, is going to be math dot power, then current is power 2. This is going to be pi. Math dot pi. We are done with this. Okay. Now we can go back to our event list now. So we can get rid of this, or we can as well comment it out. In this line, we are going to undo our number input. You can say undo number inputs. Okay, it's going to be H, not J. Alright, so we are going to check if we are provided with number or not. We say it's not a number. We pass value as the parameter, or if value is equal to dot. Alright, so if this is true, that means what we are provided is a number. We are going to check again if result is displayed. That is the boolean we defined there. So if result is displayed, then you are going to say current value, current input is equal to value. Alright, and then we return this to false. So else, if result is not displayed, that means you are performing an operation. So current input is not going to be. So we check if the current input is 0. Current input equals 0. So we're going to use ternary operator to check that. If the current input is 0, we assign the value to the current input. This is going to prevent 0 to precede any provided value. So it's going to be current input plus value. So we are doing a string concatenation there. Alright, so we save that. We can extend this a little bit so we have more real estate to work with. So after that, I'm going to update display. Then that is going to be current input. Okay, then we return. This is supposed to be current input. Okay, alright, let me explain what is happening here. So by default, the current input is 0, which is what we have here. So whenever you press any of this number, this line is first going to check if a result has been displayed. That means an operation has been concluded before we have a result displayed on the screen. So it's going to check if we have a current result displayed. Maybe you have 2 multiplied by 2, which is going to give you 4. So if that 4 is displayed, that means the next number you are pressing, you are not continuing the previous operation. You are starting a new operation afresh. So we are going to assign the value that you just pressed. We assign it to the current input, and then we turn this to false. Alright, so if there is no displayed result, that means you are either starting a new operation or you are continuing a previous operation. So if this is false, then we are going to check here. If the current input is 0, then we assign value to current input. If we don't perform this check, that means we are going to have possibly 0, 2, 0, 3, or whatever number you press. But with this, we are going to avoid having 0 preceding any value. So if you press 5 now, the 0 is going to get out, and then we have 5. Without performing this check, we are going to have 0 preceding any number. If we get rid of this, let me comment this out. Let me comment this out, and then if I say current input is equal to current input plus value. So that means with this now, whatever number you press is going to be added to this 0. So you have 0, 3. So to prevent that, that's why we are performing this check. So we can get rid of this. So if the current input is 0, then we are going to assign the value directly. So with this now, we are not going to have any 0 preceding any number. All right. So the next one after this, okay, we are supposed to have, this is JavaScript. So we are semantically correct, but to avoid confusion, you can as well close this. JavaScript will allow all that. All right. So after this, we are going to be handling the clear button. Undo clear button. All right. So we say if value is equal to C as clear button, then we're going to say current input is equal to 0. We are clearing all the inputs. So we say previous input is empty string, and then we say operator is also empty string. We are resetting it by pressing 0, and then we say result displayed. Result displayed. All right. Update display, and we're going to pass 0. All right. If you press any number, and whenever you press this, it's going to turn the current input to 0, and then it will reset every other thing. Okay, so after the clear button, we are going to have the backspace. So here we are going to undo backspace. So we don't have this backspace on our keyboard. We're going to copy it from our console. And we save value equals backspace. So here let's log this to our console, and then inspect. So go to console, and then we press backspace. Let me highlight it so we can copy. All right. So we're going to paste that here. Okay. Now we can close this. We still come back to that. So current input, anytime you are pressing backspace, we are going to slice the current input. Current input dot slice. All right. We start from the first string, which has the index of 0. Then we slice the last digit. Then we use -1. So if there is no input, if there is nothing to slice, if we have just one digit, we are going to replace it with 0. All right. We also need to update display. Make display to be current input. Then we are supposed to return. So the function does not continue running. Return should return. So JavaScript doesn't execute the following functions. All right. So the next one we are going to handle now. Okay, we've handled backspace. If you have 589 now, you press this, it's going to slice that the last digit. All right. So if you have just one, then it's going to turn it to 0. Okay. The next one we are going to handle is change sign this absolute value. So here we have the if statement. Okay, let's add this comment, undo sign change. We want to change a positive number to negative. We want to change a negative number to positive. We have the if statement. If value equals to plus or minus, so we are going to copy that also in our console. Inspect console, right, then copy. Okay, so paste that in. We have current inputs, pass floats. I'm going to convert the current input to number. As current input multiplied by -1, that is going to change it to a opposite sign. Then we convert it to string. Convert it to string. So we are going to update our display. And display is showing the string. So we say current input. And then we return from that point, so JavaScript does not continue to execute the subsequent codes. Alright, so the next thing we are going to handle is our mathematical operations: plus, minus, multiplication, division, and then raised to power. Alright, so we are going to say undo, let's say standard operations. Alright, I'm going to say if. So we have an array that contains all our operations. You can say divide. The next one is multiplication. Right? The next one is minus. The next one is plus. And then the next one is raised to power. So if any of these, if it contains the value, then we check if there is a result that is displayed. If result displayed is true, means we have previous input to be equal to display.value. And the result displayed, I'm going to turn it to false. Else, if result is not displayed, so we say we check if current input. We check if current input is true. Then we say previous input is equal to previous input. If previous input is true, then we perform our calculate operation, the function that we define there. So if previous input is true, then we calculate this. Then we convert it to string. But if previous input is not true, then we assign the current inputs to previous input. Alright, we save that. So after the if check, if else, alright, so after that, I'm going to say current input is empty string operator. We need to update our display after a mathematical operation has been performed. And then they will return. Now we can perform your normal operations. So you can say 2 times 8, that is going to give you 16. Okay, we've not gotten to equal to. But if you press another operation, you have 16 minus 4, that is going to give you 12 plus. Okay, we've now do a equal sign. That's why we couldn't use this for now. Alright, now let's undo equal sign. So this is the if condition that undoes all those operations. Okay, we have C. We can say 2 raised to power 4. That is going to give you, I think, 16. Alright, now let's undo equal sign. So this is this. You can say undo equal sign. Let me scroll this up. If our value is equal to the equal sign, alright, so that means the equal button has been clicked. So we check if we have a current input and we have a previous input. For you to use the equal sign, that means you have a previous input that you've entered and then you have a current input that you want to perform an operation. And we also check if we have an operator. Alright, so if all those conditions are satisfied, then we invoke the calculate function, const results. We invoke the calculate function, and then after calculating, we are going to update our display with the results. And after updating the display, I'm going to say previous inputs is equal to results dot to string, just in case the user wants to perform another operation after having the results. So we assign the results to the previous input. All right. Then we say current input. We reset the current input so that it can take whatever value the user may want to assign to it. After that, operator is going to be nothing. And then we're going to set result display to be equal to true. This is where we set this to true. And after that, we're going to return. Okay, so we found the equal sign. Now, if you say 8 times 5, that is going to give you 40. All right. Plus 2, that's going to give you 42. This is the result now. So we are assigning the result to the previous input so that whenever the user continues with any of the operation, this result has been assigned to previous input. So it becomes previous input, and then whatever value you pressed is going to become the current input, and then you can continue with that. You can right. We've not undo the scientific operations, so those ones are not working for now. So after this, we are going to undo scientific operations. Undo scientific. And say if we have our if statement, and then we are going to check for all these scientific values, scientific functions. We have sine, then the next one is cosine, the next one is tangent, the next one is log, the next one is square root. I've copied that anywhere. Square roots. Okay, we have it here. Let me copy all of them at once. I'm just going to access that from my clipboard. Okay, we can type this. This is where we are. So we have log. The next one is going to be lim. The next one is going to be square root. Let me access my keyboard with window V. So if you are using Windows or PC, you access your clipboard with window plus V. I don't know for Mac. The next one is squared. Square. Alright. The next one is pi. Did I copy pi? Yes. And then the next one is E. As Euler's constant. The next one is raised to power. Okay, we've handled this in our operators. We've handled raised to power. So if this array, if it contains a value, if the value is dot include, if it include the provided, if it include the value, which is the value is the inner text of whatever button that is clicked, we have value. All right. So if it includes that, that's why we are going to invoke the scientific operation, the operation with the function we defined there. So we are going to invoke it here. So we check. If result is displayed, that means an operation has just been concluded. So we say current input is equal to display.value. All right. And after that, we say we turn this to false. All right. So after checking, we now say result is equal to scientific operation. Then we pass value. Right. So we say current input is equal to result dot to string. Convert it to string. And then result displayed is equal to true. So now we have undo the scientific operators now. So you can press 30 and then say sign. Sign of 30 is supposed to give you 0 point something. It's not working now. What could be the issue? So this is where the error is. We are not updating our display. We're supposed to update display. Okay. We update it with results. All right, so if we have a sign of 30, it's not supposed to be giving us 0. All right, this is where our error is. Current is supposed to be current input, not value. Okay, see little bugs that is going to give you headache. If the value that we passed here, so value is actually called sign tan. So if you are passing a string to a function that is looking for a number, so this is supposed to be current input, not value. All right, so if you press 30 now, you look for sign that is that, and then the cos, cosine, right, and then the tangent. Let's clear that tangent of 30 and start from that. All right, then you can also find the log of a number that is in base 10. Log 10 base 10 is 1. Log 100 base 2 is going to be, log 100 base 10 is going to be 2. All right, log 1000 base 10 is going to be 3. Okay, and then we have our natural logarithm, that is logarithm to base of e. Okay, we have that, and we also have our Euler's constant out of pi. Pi is also not giving us anything, so that means we're having issues with this. Let's find, okay, this one is correct. This is correct. What of squared? This is correct also. Then pi. Pi is actually, pi is not a function, and also e is not a function. Both of them are constants. So if you press this, we have pi. And then if you press this, we have the Euler's constant. All right. So if you press this, that's going to be e raised to the power of 2. Exponential is not working. It could be the issue. Okay, I don't think it is undoed here. All right, so I omitted it. Exponential. Okay, so now we can have e raised to power 2. That is this constant raised to power this. So you see this. All right. You can also perform this operation. You can say e raised to power 2. So you have 7.3 this. Same thing, you can just press 2 and say exponential. You have this. You can say e raised to power 8. So if you press equal to, you have this, and you can say 8 exponential. You have the same value. All right. You see how little bugs can mess up your time. Okay, so we are done with scientific operations. Now let's undo percent. So this is this. We have it here. Undo percentage. Undo. So we're going to say if, let me scroll this up, if value is equal to percent. All right. So we check if a result has been displayed. Let's say we have 5 times 5. So a result is currently displayed. If a result has been displayed, then we say current input is equal to display.value. So we are assigning this current displayed value, we are assigning it to current input, and then we say result displayed is equal to false. All right, it's supposed to be result displayed. So after assigning that, then we now say current input. So we pass float it, convert it to number. So we say current input, then divided by 100. That is going to turn it to percent. Then we need to convert this to string. All right. Then we're going to update our display. Update it with current input. All right. Result displayed, which turn it to true. Then we return. Okay, so we found 2%. Now if you say 2%, that is going to be 0.02. Where is our percent value? Okay. All right. So if you say 10%, that is going to be 0.1%. All right. The next one we are going to handle is inverse of any number, 1 over x. Undo 1 over x, that is inverse of any number. We say if value equals to 1 over x. So we are also going to check if a result is currently displayed. We can copy this and paste it here. If a result has been displayed, then we assign the currently displayed result to current input. Okay. Then we are going to say current input equals to, so we say 1 divided by, we convert the current inputs to number, pass float, current inputs. Right. So we have 1 over that, and then we convert it to string. Alright, and we update our display. We pass current inputs to our display, and then we say result displayed is equal to true. Alright, so we return from there. Alright, so we've undo this. Now if you say 4 and you press this, that's going to give you 0.25. I mean, you say 2 and you press this, that is 0.5. You are finding the inverse of this number. If you find the inverse of 3, that is going to be 0.333333. Alright, so the next one now we are going to handle is this absolute value. We have this here. I want to undo absolute value. We want to turn this number to positive. Whatever value is passed, turn it to positive. We're also going to check if a result is displayed. If a result is displayed, we assign the display results to our current input. Okay, so this simple functionality allows you to continue another operation using the current displayed results. Alright, so I'm going to say current input is equal to, we use the math function, then absolute, math.absolute. Then we convert our current input to number. Currently it is string, so we convert it to number. Alright, so the result, we turn the result to string back so that we can display it in our display. So we update display using current input. Then we say result displayed is equal to true, so we return from that point. Alright, so even if you have 5, the absolute value of 5 is 5, but if you have a negative 5, the absolute value is going to be 5. If you have a negative 9, the absolute value is 9. Alright, yes, now we are done with our calculator. We've handled all the possible buttons. We've handled our scientific buttons. We've handled the square root. We've handled square, pi, Euler's constant raised to power. So you can perform whatever operation. You can say 50 divided by 10. It's going to give you 5, right? And you can say 5 raised to the power of 2 is going to give you 25. So 1 over 25 is going to give you 0.04. The square root of 16 is going to give you 4. The sine of angle 45 is going to give you this. I think the sine of 90 should be 1, right? So you can say cos of 60 is what? 0.5. Okay, so we have this floating number that is JavaScript for you. Okay, what do we have as tan of 30? Okay, so here we have a backspace. Going to clear that for you. We've tested this, we've not tested minus 50, minus 30. It's going to give you 20, alright, plus 20 plus 5 is going to give you 25. Okay, natural logarithm. That's that for our scientific calculator. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel. I'll see you in the next video.